Hi everyone, today we are going to talk about the best build for Florence, her best teams, weapons, skill priority, and most importantly, how to play her to her full potential. I'll also explain how her skills work at the end. Let's start the video now. Florence is a fire element DPS character. She is one of the strongest and easiest characters to use in Blackbeacon, making her one of the limited 5-star characters that is worth getting for new players. She particularly excels at burst damage, meaning you will have to learn how to switch characters quickly after her attacks. Let's start with what skills you should prioritize to upgrade. First skill should be Domination, the core of Florence's skill set, and affects the damage of all her other attacks. Upgrading this first benefits the rest of her skills. Second skill should be Falling Petals Blossom Dispersal, a powerful and fast attack that does not leave Florence as vulnerable to damage as her other skill does. Third skill should be Blaze Flower. Her ultimate skill deals massive amounts of damage and even gets a damage upgrade if she's at potential level 2 instead of dealing ultimate damage. Blaze Flower deals derived damage, the same kind of damage dealt by Florence's domination enhanced skills. Fourth skill should be Flower Dance Blooming Rage. A powerful second skill, used just before Florence is switched out to the next character, so that it can be swap cancelled, meaning the next character swaps in while Florence is in the middle of making the move, minimizing the damage she would have received. Fifth skill should be Ascending Blade. Combo skills are not as used as often as the other skills, so they're not as big of a priority to upgrade. Sixth skill would be Monarch Swordsmanship. The only time you will be using Florence's basic attacks is when you need to gain more stacks of Monarch's stance somehow. It's okay not to upgrade these at first, since they're not the character's main sources of damage. I'll give you a quick recap of all that now. Florence needs to get her passive, first skill, and ultimate upgraded as soon as possible to maximize her damage. If you have resources to go toward her second skill, upgrade that as well. Her combo and basic attack are not as essential as the 4 skills mentioned, but can be upgraded later on once you have the resources. That's it for her skill priorities. Next, let's talk about her best weapon. To be honest, her best choice is going to be her limited weapon, Oracle Stained Glass Claymore. The base effect of this weapon gives Pierce plus 12%. Each stack of Monarch Stance grants an additional 4% increase to derivative damage, and Blossom Dispersal increases penetration rate by 2% per hit on an enemy, stacking up to 5 times. The stacks gradually expire after 4 seconds. Your other options will be 3-star Japheth Style Sword or 4-star Japheth Style Sword Enhanced. Next, let's talk about her best teams. First, with the Firecloak team, a relatively simple but effective team. A post-breakthrough level 1-0 triggers her attack buff, followed by Ming, who quickly generates enough candle shadow points to use her second skill, Gleaming Light, which grants her a cloak of fire for 10 seconds. Immediately switch to Florence and use the short version of her rotation. Not only does she deal extra damage with Zero's buff, but elemental damage with Ming's buffs as well, making it easy for her to pull off the burning elemental anomaly. Ming can also be replaced with another fire element support such as Hefei, if you want to increase Florence's survivability on top of an extra attack buff courtesy of Hefei's Forge. The other team would be the Fire and Light team. This one is kind of pay-to-win team. Just like the previous team setup, Zero pulls off her attack buff, Logos, who should be at least breakthrough level 2, sets up a note, then switches over to Florence, who can do either the short or long version of her rotation depending on how long Zero's attack buff lasts. Not only does Florence get to deal extra damage with an increased chance to inflict elemental overload on her enemies, but she also gets passive healing courtesy of Logos's notes, great for fights that are expected to drag. Next, let's talk about the most important part, how to play Florence. First, I'll tell you about her strengths. Powerful main skills that deal damage to both single targets and groups of enemies. Easy to learn skill rotation that anyone can handle. Requires minimal investment in terms of potential to be effective. Any further copies would further improve an already good unit. though still recommended. Burning Elemental Anomaly deals good damage to enemies. It is recommended to pair with other elements to deal further damage through Elemental Overload. Weaknesses. Skill animations take a relatively long time to finish, so she will take damage from enemies, though this can be minimized with swap cancelling. Once her rotation is done, her skills take a long time, up to 30 seconds, to cool down, so she has to be switched out quickly for another character. Could have trouble dealing with highly mobile or fast enemies because of the length of her skill animations. In short, Florence is a powerful DPS unit that can defeat enemies fast with high burst damage. Her skill set is easy to use and easy to learn for new players, and she requires minimal investment in terms of copies. She is only held back by her long skill animations and longer skill cooldowns, which can cut her rotation short if a player is not careful with using her. Now let's talk about if you should dupe your Florence, and in case you don't know, dupe means her potential. In other words, getting more copies of her. Or dupe 1 makes it so that if you enter domination mode with her basic attacks, she can deal extra damage with her enhanced skills once before her monarch stance stacks are replenished. A nice upgrade, though not too useful if you intend to switch her out often. Dupe 2. This dupe-related upgrade essentially extends her rotation by one more round as it maxes out her monarch stance stacks after using her ultimate skill. If you can't invest in her too much, settling at dupe level 2 is good enough. Dupe 3. Blossom Dispersal gets to deal more damage, nice to have if you are shooting for her dupe 6 upgrade. Dupe 4 just increases her skill level by 2, it's not that important. Dupe 5, an upgrade for her more powerful enhanced second skill, Blooming Rage, nice to have as well if you plan to go all the way with raising Florence's potential. Dupe 6 makes Florence even deadlier by giving her an increased chance to deal critical hits with her attacks and increases that critical damage. Like all her other dupe upgrades, this is not essential, but one of the nicest upgrades to have. All this is great to know, but what benefit would it be if you don't even know what her skills do? So let's talk about her skills and how to use them most effectively. Let's start from her passive. Most of Florence's skills trigger her passive Domination. While Domination is activated, she deals regular attack damage to nearby enemies, unlocks new derivative skills, and enters a special stance for launching attacks. How to use. If Florence does not attack during this period, her passive Domination will deactivate 1 second after her stance expires. While passive Domination is in effect, casting her Skill 1 or Skill 2 grants Florence 2 stacks of Monarch Stance. This bonus stacks up to 6 times with an independent 4-second timer for each stack. Each stack increases Florence's derivative damage and enables her second skill to deal 5% more damage. When Florence has 6 stacks, this damage bonus additionally increases by 30%. Next up is her basic attack, also known as Monarch Swordsmanship. Landing the 3rd hit allows Florence to active passive Domination. How to use? Hold basic attack to perform a heavy strike, dealing regular attack damage. After that, Florence activates passive Domination. Upon triggering a perfect dodge, tap basic attack to launch a counterattack, dealing regular attack damage. After the counterattack, Florence activates passive Domination again. Next is her Skill 1. While passive skill Domination is in effect, this skill is replaced by the derived skill Blossom Dispersal. Blossom Dispersal lunges forwards twice and penetrate the target, dealing derivative damage. After that, activates passive skill Domination. Her second skill. While passive Domination is in effect, this skill is replaced by the derivative skill Blooming Rage. Blooming Rage unleashes a spinning strike followed with a leaping strike, dealing derivative damage 3 times to enemies within a large area. After that, loses all Monarch Stance stacks. The last one is her combo skill Ascending Blade. When combo charge is ready, tap combo skill to immediately gain 6 stacks of Monarch Stance and release Blooming Rage combo. While Florence is in the burst state, her passive domination is always in effect. When she releases Blossom Dispersal in this state, she immediately gains 6 stacks of Monarch stance. Now, I hope you understand how she works. It's alright if something seemed too complicated. And the more you play with Florence and get used to her skill names, everything will make sense. Now I'll give you an example on how to actually use her skills practically in combat. 1. Use her second skill, Flower Dance, and enter her domination mode. When you switch to Florence, use the second skill immediately to deal damage and activate her passive domination mode. Domination mode allows her to gather stacks of Monarch stance, which increases the damage to her skills, which have been changed and enhanced by her domination stance. 2. Use Blossom Dispersal, the enhanced version of her first skill, Falling Petals, 2 times. While still in her domination stance, uses Florence's first skill 2 times. Instead of Falling Petals, the skill has become Blossom Dispersal, which makes her lunge forward and damage any enemy that's in the way. Great for large enemies with lots of coverage as well. 3. Use Blooming Rage, the enhanced version of her second skill, Flower Dance. By this point, Florence may already be running out of Monarch's stance stacks. So, finish her rotation off with the enhanced version of Flower Dance, Blooming Rage, where she spins her sword, dealing damage to the enemy before slamming down on them with an AoE attack. Switch her out for another character after that, since it's very likely that Florence's skills have to cool down at this point by up to 30 seconds. So switch her out quickly with another character in your party so they can do their skills while Florence is still recovering. That's it for the Florence guide. Everyone, I hope it helps you all. I'm trying to reach 500 subscribers by the end of this month. I'd really appreciate it if you can subscribe to the channel. I'll be making guides on all the other 5-star characters as well really soon. Have a good